Welcome to Motivate You, the Winner Circle here. Thisis50.com, the Winner Circle. I am your host, June Archer. Today, my special guests, Muta Bill and Suleiman Jenkins, the authors of Life is Raw, out now. And this book is amazing. But before we get into that book, you guys are a couple of hours ahead of me. You guys are in Saudi Arabia. How is the weather? How's it feeling out there with COVID and everything that's going on globally with you guys right now?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, Joe, man? I'm in Riyadh. Suleiman is in Dammam. The weather, I think, is different from city to city. It's a little chilly out here. The COVID is, it was doing good for a few months, and now the numbers are going back up. So Saudi Arabia made a partial lockdown again. So we're hoping for the best.
And for you, Suleiman, how was it where you are?
Yeah, I mean, same in terms of the COVID cases. They were this region was the first one to really take it seriously for the second wave. But in general, the country doing an outstanding job of trying to keep things under control. And the weather, we're by the beach, man. So today I was cooling by the beach, man.
Yeah, Suleiman by the beach. I'm in the middle of the desert, bro.
Listen, that's great. That's just how life gives us, right? So. I'm so happy to have you guys on the show today, man. Talking about this book, Life is Raw. Some of the stories that you guys put together, Muta, it was a brainchild of yours, and Suleiman came in and put his spin on it. I want to talk about how impactful this project has been, because this has been entered into the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx. How did that feel? Before we get into what this book is about, how did it feel to have that book amongst so many other things that are going to be held for history, for those that come after us, to see that you contributed to hip hop in more ways than one?
Man, it definitely, like I said, the book was like therapy for me. You know what I mean? It exceeded my expectations. When Suleiman first approached me about let's do this book, he was a writer. I didn't really know his level, you know what I mean, of writing. But when I seen the first chapter, I knew I was all in. I knew that it was going to be something different. Like I said before, like most rappers who write books, it's almost like an extension of their rap lyrics. It's only targeting a certain audience that they used to buying their records. But the way Suleiman put the book together, it doesn't matter if a person listen to hip hop, listen to the Outlaws, listen to Tupac. The way he wrote these stories, it would resonate with people, no matter their background, no matter their race, their religion, their gender, whether you're from the hood or not from the hood. He put it, the stories is in a way that everybody can accept it and it resonate with everybody, man. So to be part of the Hip Hop Museum, for them to contact us and say they want to put the book in the joint once they open up, man, it was like, man, I think it's overwhelming. I still haven't accepted it yet. I still haven't. It didn't really, dawn on me yet. But I know once I see it up there, I'm gonna really be excited.
For you, Suleiman,
yeah,
Muta was part of the legendary group Outlaws, birthed from Tupac Shakur. Seeing that journey for Muta, how did it inspire you to jump into this book and give it your all? Like, you really put blood, sweat, and tears into this project. Did you know about Muta prior to sitting and writing this book, from when he was doing music and how he was doing it at the height of his career?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic question, because a lot of people wouldn't know. I'm from Brooklyn, and most of my homies, we were riding hard for Pac, believe it or not. Even though in the midst of the East Coast, West Coast beef, we were riding hard for Pac and the Outlaws. All my friends, Puerto Rican dudes, they had the Outlaw tattoo, on their forearm, So I've always been a fan, of the Outlaws. Pac helped me get through some real serious, emotional and personal, tribulations and things like that. Make sense of the world as a young black man. And of the Outlaws, Moo was my favorite one. So fast forward, to 2008, we finally meet here in Saudi Arabia through a mutual friend. And then it just, our relationship just took off from there. So as you mentioned, I'm glad that you can feel that the book really literally is blood, sweat, and tears. And it's, it's real love for the brother, because now, it's amazing how, you go from, listen to the man's music, and then, you meet him, and then you you get a glimpse of his life, and his life is unbelievable. It's unbelievable in terms of what it offers, the lessons that can be learned, the transformation. And to your previous point about the Universal Hip Hop Museum, I've been fortunate to go to some pretty good schools and have, and really excel at the research level. So my whole perspective from the inception of the book was to make this not just about his life, but to make it something historic, because his life intersects with so many historical things that took place in the Black community, that took place in hip hop and rap. So I really tried to make sure that the book delivered on that, and to be accepted to the Universal Hip Hop Museum is just a testament to the hard work that we put together. So I'm elated. I'm ecstatic that we achieved that at such an early age.
You guys start the book off hitting the ground running. For you, Muta, people may not know this. They have to read it in the book, probably for the first time. Your parents were very instrumental in the movement in the earlier years. You witnessed your parents get murdered. For you, how did that impact your journey from that point out, and who did you lean on? Because it was your brother and you who, and I don't want to give too much away, but I feel like fate happened in that moment, and the universe surrounded you with something that sometimes you just can't explain.
Definitely.
And you were saved by the grace of the Most High. How did that change or help or shape your trajectory from that day forward?
As we mentioned in the book, my parents got murdered in front of me. And when I was 3 years old, I was in the house with two of my brothers. My young brother was 6 months old, Camille. My brother Mooney, he was 4 years old. And the people that murdered my parents, when they got arrested and they had to go to trial, the judge asked them, the judge said, "Were you planning on killing the kids?" And they said, "Yeah, we planned to kill everyone in the house, but we ran out of bullets shooting at their mother." My mother got shot 13 times, so taking all them shots and taking all them bullets is what actually saved us. She pretty much gave her life to save me and my brothers. You know what I mean? So looking back at it, I see, the love that a mother had for their children. No one can really, even a man, we can never really understand that. You know what I mean? But I thank God that I also was raised with my grandparents. My grandmother, she did an amazing job, to raise us to the best of her ability, to keep us out of trouble. And we had some type of foundation in my grandmother's household. And like you mentioned, I leaned on my brothers, very close to my brothers. We pretty much been through everything together. From that day on, we've been tight. So as you said, it was fate. You know what I mean? It wasn't our time to go, and the book really gonna touch some nerves, man, because it's a tearjerker, as E40 would say. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, it really is. It really is, man. For both of you, you guys made the trek from New York to overseas. How did moving your family from here to there? What was the plan? Was the plan really just to get away, to do something different? Were you running from something? Were you protecting your family from something? What was the real reason behind really picking up and starting over somewhere else fresh?
Suleiman,
you've been here longer than me, and I'll let you answer that first.
Cool. I mean, yeah, the answer is twofold. Obviously I'm Muslim, and Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country. Not only is it a Muslim country, but it's home to the most important, institutions in, Islamic religion, Mecca and Medina. So, for me coming out of college, it was, I was born Muslim, but I wasn't always practicing, so I started practicing seriously my senior year. And, I got a job teaching English. So I decided to come out here just, for the religious environment. But also too, man, I mean, obviously, I'm from BK, and, I'm from East New York, I was born in Crown Heights, and, obviously the environment there is, in some places it's not the most conducive to raise your kids, you raise your family, so, I thought that, going to a different place, a different country, relatively safe, at least I provide, my kids with a different environment, so they wouldn't be necessarily tempted by the things that I was tempted with, and I thought that was important. And then also just to have an international experience. It's important to you know, a lot of people in the States, they never leave. You know, a lot of people in New York, they never leave boroughs. You know, so you know, the world is big. Go out and explore it.
Now, for you, Muta, you had the opportunity to work with Tupac, with the legendary Outlaws, as we mentioned. How did you come about to even crossing paths with Tupac, let alone making music with him, and having that as one of the pieces of your history on this planet?
You know, what to get back to the question of what I made, you know, my move here to Saudi Arabia is similar to what, you know, the intention Suleiman had to just be closer to Mecca, Medina, the two holiest cities in Islam, to raise my kids in just a peaceful environment. You know what I mean? Working with Pac, you know, a lot of things in life you don't really, you sometimes take them for granted, and you don't really realize the positions that you were in until they're taken away from you, or till you grow out of it and look back at it. That's the same thing with working with Pac. You know what I mean? When I was with the Outlaws, when I was with Tupac, I always felt like, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I belong here, and that's why I'm here. But when I look back at it, especially even from the book, when I read the book, I was able to look at my life again. You know what I mean? From the outside looking in, and it was pretty much that, you know, Pac did things for me he didn't have to do. He treated me like family from day one. And you know, Pac used to say stuff like, "Moo, man, you feel you walk around and you act like everybody owe you something." You know what I mean? And I didn't realize until I got, you know, because when I came to the clique from day one, I felt like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be on this record. But it really was an opportunity for me. It was a given opportunity for me that he didn't have to do these things for me. And, you know, looking back at it, make me really appreciate him as a person and looking out not only for me, but also for my family. He was more than a person that I rap with on records. He was like a friend, like a big brother. You know what I mean? Like family.
Is there a gem that Tupac gave you that you find yourself repeating and sharing with others long after he's been gone?
Man, just to stand on what you believe on. You know, one thing about Pac, he's the type of person that whatever he say, he stand on it. If he make mistakes, he stand on it, admit that he made mistakes. That's something that I was able to grasp from him and try to implement in my life now. You know what I mean? Don't be ashamed. When I accepted the religion of Islam 18 years ago, it was before the social media hype, when all the celebrities was going to Dubai. I was wearing throws back then when people thought I lost my mind. You know what I mean? But it was something that I learned from Pac. Like, look, man, if you believe in this and you certain on what you're doing, then stick on it, even if everybody else around you not agreeing. And that's one of the jewels that I got from him that I continue to implement in my life to this day.
Man, that's dope. Suleiman, for you,
Yeah,
you guys going and making that move have, especially for Muta, you guys have kind of put the music over here and kind of jumped into entrepreneurship. I want to talk about that because I keep hearing about all these opportunities that are happening, and you know, it's not what you think it is out there. It ain't all camels and flying carpets. Like, there's some real things going on out here. We're making money, and I know you. I think Muta, you making money on coffee. Like how did you guys go over there and you guys are making money doing what you love and making an impact? How does that feel? Suleiman, I'll start with you.
yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to also, you know, one of the reasons why I came over here. I was supposed to work on Wall Street. I had a job on Wall Street at the age of 20, but you know, after working there and spending so much time, I was like, you know, I can't do this. I'm not ready to sell my soul yet. You know what I mean? It was just too much work. You know, even though the money was good. But when I returned to religion and started practicing, that didn't necessarily mean that I have to be broke and be a bum. You know, I still need to get that money. So coming over here, they presented the most lucrative opportunities to teach English. You know, so I came out here, and you know, there really was no drop off from coming from New York. You know, New York is New York. There was really no drop off in terms of standard of living. You know, I found restaurants here I didn't even know was in America. You know, that's how deep they are here. You know, in terms of the cash flow. So there's definitely a ton of opportunities. It's a growing, country, growing economy. The whole region, really, it's sort of like an untapped resource.
For you, Muta, this book is putting a lot of stuff out there, and it seems like Suleiman really went in to help you pull everything out, to really put everything on the line, to really share not only your journey, but people who have touched your life along the way, who've been a blessing to you. You start with your parents, you and your brothers, your grandmothers, your grandmother, Tupac, Outlaws. How did it feel to really birth something that you're really just being super vulnerable and being as transparent as possible? How does it feel that now that the book is out? How have you been? How can I say? How have you been embraced by family and friends in the industries that you participate in?
You know, when we first started writing the book, when Suleiman was calling me asking questions, I didn't really get his angle where he was coming from. You know, I hang up the phone like, man, why is he asking these questions? You know, and because this was the first time that I dealt with someone that really was like, it was like a therapy session. Like, he was my therapist. So he was asking the right questions, even though I didn't understand why he was asking these questions. But when I was giving him these answers, the way when he put the first chapter together, and I was like, wow, so this is why he was like coming at me like, you know, real calm and patient and cut, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that he was able to not just write the book, because anybody can just come and say, you know, let me Google what his life story says online and I can write it. But I appreciate that he came from an angle that I didn't even expect it to be, you know, dope the way he put it together. And he was able to get things out of me that if he didn't ask certain questions, no doubt about it, I wouldn't really went into certain details about certain things. And so once we was finished with it, I took a deep breath and I was like, finally, you know, because there was things I was holding in for pretty much majority of my life. And a lot of the stuff I just kept pushing to the back of my head and just pretend things didn't happen or pretend it didn't happen the way it happened. You know what I mean? So the book was able to give me the ability to face these things that I was trying to run from all my life. You know what I mean? Before I became Muslim, one of the ways I was able to face these things was drinking alcohol or getting high. You know what I mean? This was the way I was able to escape these things. So this was the first time that I was able to face these things head on and feel good about it afterwards. You know what I mean? So it was a therapy session for me, man.
What do the both of you want people to walk away with from reading this book? I'll start with you, Suleiman.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what you just said too. I mean, in a relationship like this, a project like this, you have, the author, you have the protagonist. I wanted him to know, look, you comfortable, tell me whatever you want. You know what I mean? Whatever you want in the book, let me know. Whatever you don't want, he's like, nah, we gotta go. We gotta keep it real. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about him. And it's just something that's known about him, the Pac, the Outlaws, is that they're just real individuals. So for somebody to put their life on Front Street, literally for the entire world to consume, I mean, that takes a level of courage, that a lot of people they don't necessarily have, and especially from the aspect of mental health, which is something that we know in the Black community is not really that, not really looked, you kind of shamed from talking about mental health and things like that. That was something important to get across, throughout the book as well. Yeah, I forget the original question. What was it?
What do you hope people will walk away with after reading this?
So in terms of what we hope, I hope that the people can see that, it's not about how you begin, it's how you finish. You can go through some tremendous, and I write this at the end. I say you can go through tremendous, daunting bouts of pain and misery and trauma, and then, emerge, from it and be successful, be prosperous. I said the time that he, the first time he started to smile, he doesn't stop smiling since, and that's a testament to just his fortitude as a person, and I wanted, and like he mentioned in the beginning, it doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Muslim, non-Muslim, American, not American, it doesn't matter. This is a human story, so we really wanted to touch anybody who reads it. They could be able to pull something from it, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's inspiration, whether it's guidance, whether it's spirituality, whatever it is, history, insight into Black culture, whatever it is, hopefully there'll be something for you.
For you, Mutai, what do you want people to walk away with after reading this book?
I want them to walk away with some hope. You know what I mean? You can change your life. You can become a positive individual despite your circumstances or your environment. Because many of us, when we come from the hood, we think that there's only certain things that we can do to make it up out of there. I went through what I went through, and I wouldn't change anything. I know it's all from God, but there's people that's going to do worse things than that I went through. So, and they searching and they looking for change, and they just need to know that there is a way that you can change. You can get that positive lifestyle. You can get the happiness you're looking for, but you got to be the one to make that first step. You know what I mean? So, I just want people to walk away with this book with hope.
How important is it for you guys to educate some of your people back in New York, or people anywhere in the States, to come over to experience what you guys have experienced? You guys have leaned on religion to kind of change the frame of mind that you had, and to change some of your behavior in terms of what you had here. Not to say that you guys were in anything bad, but you since found religion, and you guys have changed pretty drastically, in my opinion, to really get focused. You guys are really leaning on this. What do you say to the person that's saying, what, I never travel, I don't have a passport, I don't know, I don't know what it's going to be like over there? What do you say to that person that is stuck where they are, knowing that they need a change, but they're afraid to make that change?
I think traveling in general, it makes you open-minded. You know what I mean? When you start traveling and you starting to come across different cultures, as myself, I noticed when I first started traveling outside of America, I was actually surprised that I was treated with the respect. When people would look at me like, oh, he's American, he's a Black American. And the level was like, the respect level was on a whole nother level where, sometimes in my own country, in the USA, you will feel rejected in certain places, you know what I mean, or unwanted. So I was surprised when I went around, travel and see how much, especially as Black American, our culture has impacted, pretty much every place worldwide, every main country you can think of, they accepted our culture. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes just traveling, being open-minded, you can see that the world is spacious. You know what I mean? You might be like this people might be in the hood in New Jersey or New York, and they might have degrees and they might be educated and can't find a job and go somewhere else as an American and be really accepted with open arms. You know what I mean? So travel is very important. I suggest everybody get a passport, travel the world.
Suleiman, for you?
Yeah, I would say honestly, my main thing, life is short. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't get out your comfort zone. When I dropped everything, I literally dropped everything. I had a job lined up paying, $70,000, $80,000 right out of college, dropped it and said, I'm going to Saudi Arabia. People look like me, I was crazy, and now look at me now, successful with a family, met my homie, you know what I mean? We got a book out, as a matter of fact, I linked up with friends, that I just recently, like last week, I linked up with friends from the hood I hadn't seen in 20 years.
Wow.
And they see me on IG, they see me with, Napoleon wrote a book. They're like, yo, this and that. Yo, we heard you went out to Saudi Arabia. What happened to you? This, and I'm like, come on, man. Don't let fear of the unknown stop you from moving. Life's too short, man. Life's too short.
I love that. For you, Muta, what is the biggest difference if we were to look back on your journey? What was the great thing about Napoleon that Muta took and made it better?
The great thing about Napoleon that I took and made it better. That's a good question right there. I think my pain, you know what I mean? What I can say is that the things that I went through, my pain, I was able, like this book, it's full of pain, it's full of ups and downs, but we hope that it will be, and the reaction now is positive, you know what I mean? So I was able to take my pain and turn it into something positive, put it in the form of a book, and people really saying that there's chance and hope for themselves, you know what I mean?
For you, Suleiman said it a few minutes ago, but your smile, the way you the way you light up. He said he hadn't seen that in a while. And with this book, you did. Most recently, Loon came home, and it was the embrace that people watched IG. They saw everything that had transpired between the both of you. You welcoming him with open arms. How did that feel? That you guys have had the same obstacles and struggles in the music business, found religion, found the opportunity to get away from the United States of America. And in that moment, we're able to embrace each other. It's almost like you guys didn't have to say much. You guys understood in that embrace what it was and kind of unloaded it in that moment, saying, brother, I know how you feel. I understand.
Definitely.
I've been through it. I get it, but you're home now. Take us back to that moment and tell me how that felt and what's going on with Loon now.
Well, Loon, man, I hollered at the brother Loon about a week ago, Amir. And, we come from opposite sides of the music industry. He come from Bad Boy, I come from Death Row. So we automatically supposed to have animosity towards each other. I remember I got the phone call that he accepted the religion of Islam. And one of the brothers in New York put him on the phone with me. And from that, you know what I mean? From that day, we just been on it. Even when he got arrested, unfortunately, we've been in touch throughout these years. When he moved to Egypt, we was in touch through his time in Egypt. So when he came home, it felt like he wasn't away. You know what I mean? It felt like we just jumped right back into where we left off at, joking with each other, laughing with each other. And his spirits are always positive, man. So, it was happy to reconnect with him.
No, that's dope. Amir, man. Shout out to Amir. We got to have you on the show, man. We got to unpack a couple of things. For you guys, there's a movie as well that you guys have been working on. There was a documentary out that kind of shares some other stories on this. How was that project, and how did you feel about that being birthed and given out?
Well, the documentary is called Life of an Outlaw. We did that documentary years ago. And the documentary is nothing compared to the book, in my opinion, due to the fact that the documentary was only 1 hour long, interviews with other people. But in the book, I was able to go into details, stuff that I was shocked that I was able to let out. You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that because it's my book. You know what I mean? When I sit back and I read the book as if I'm a third person or as if I'm not Muta or Napoleon, I'm surprised the way it's written. You know what I mean? I'm happy the way it's written. I'm happy the outcome of the book. So the documentary is different. The documentary pretty much, not to tell people to sleep on it, go support the documentary, go check it out. But we have interviews with people like Loon, Freeway, the Outlaws. So it's collective. The book is about my life. Of course, we have stories about Pac and the Outlaws and even Amir Loon and all of us in the book. But two different things. The book, you would get more. The book is what you not going to get in the documentary. You know what I mean? You'll get more from the book.
After all these years, have you been in contact with anybody from the Outlaws?
Yeah. Well, I'm in contact with all of them. Shout out to Nobu because he helped us out a lot. Him and Suleiman was on the phone many times. Definitely. He looked out a lot. Storm, shout out to Storm, the female outlaw.
For you, Suleiman, you did an amazing job with this book, brother. I had the opportunity to dive into it. I love it. I love the story. I love the humility in it, the humanity in it.
Appreciate it.
Where do you see yourself after this project? Are there any more books coming? What can we expect from the great Suleiman Jenkins, who is now a published author?
Well, I mean, I don't know about all that, but we pretty much, as you saw at the end, we pretty much dropped the mic, at the end of the book, because we couldn't fit, so we looked at the first half of his life and we weren't able to get to his life in Saudi, like how was he really changed as a Muslim and, as an expatriate in a different country, so that's going to be another project, coming out. We don't know if it'll be released at the end of this year or beginning of next. So that's an important project. There are other people in context, with me in terms of, trying to write their stories. I have to be very selective, because I don't just, not everybody's story is, I would say it's not necessarily, I have to pick intriguing stories and I need to pick stories that have serious lessons for everybody. And it's also, it's also part of me. I can't fall off, So, my challenge is whatever I write, I need it to be better than whatever it is that you just witnessed, So that's a challenge for me. So, I'll go that route. I also have, I'm an English teacher, professor in university, and there are serious issues with regards to racism and discrimination. If you follow me on Twitter or look at me on Twitter, you see that that's pretty much my whole discussion about tackling that, from a real intellectual academic perspective. So that's definitely on the table too. Write a book about that and try to make positive impact on the world, man.
Where can people follow you? Where can they like you? How can they pick this book up?
Well, they can follow us both on Instagram, Muta Bill. Twitter, they can follow us on Twitter. Suleiman Jenkins, Twitter, Muta Napoleon. The book, Life is Raw, Outlaw, Instagram. The link is in both our bios. You can get the book on, what is it, dopress.com, Suleiman?
Yeah, and actually, if you just type "Life is Raw," you'll see it in Google. You'll see it come up immediately. So
yeah, that's the easiest way.
That's the easiest way. That's the easiest way.
You got Amazon, you got DealPress, you got everything.
Listen, the book is out now. Life is Raw. Muta Bill, Suleiman Jenkins. Life of Outlaws documentary. Go find that. Go support that. These young men are doing some amazing things in terms of entrepreneurship and changing people's lives where they are. And not just where they are, but globally. If you follow them and you see what they're doing, they are touching people's lives and with a smile on their face. And I know that you'll be blessed by just having the opportunity to pick up this book. I promise you, it will teach you a lot about humility and strength, especially the strength of a mother, the love that a mother has for her child, so much that it changes the trajectory long after they're gone because of what they sacrificed for their children. This is Muta Bill, Suleiman Jenkins. I'm your guy, June Archer. Thisis50.com here to motivate you, the Winner Circle. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like it, love it, and do me a favor, please. Tell somebody that you love them. Life is short. Life is raw. You only get one chance at making this thing right. Make sure that you never forget to tell somebody you love them, because it may be the last time you have the opportunity to do so. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. God bless y'all.
Thank you, bro.
Peace. Appreciate you doing.
All right.